Hi everybody, it's John of Millinery and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Have a look down below, there should be a red subscribe button. Click that and you'll be subscribed to this channel. If there isn't a subscribe button, that means you're already subscribed. Just hit that bell and you'll be notified when our videos get released in future. Quick shout out to all my Patreon supporters. Keep looking at the end of this video and they'll all be listed there. So this video is a tutorial. It's also a public service announcement. So in this video I wanted to do something a little bit different. Not in terms of the hat, more in terms of the video. This piece that we made was a traditional mother of the bride type hat. Something that you would find in many department stores, and this is what a lot of people that come to Milliners and say, can I have a hat like this? And then you give them your price. They're like, well, I can get it in a department store for half the price. Little do they know exactly what sort of work goes into making a piece like this. And like I said earlier, this is a basic piece. What I've done in this video is I've timed it at the end of this video, so once you've seen the tutorial, there'll be a little bit about how long it took and what it really would cost to sell. So if you want to see how I made this piece, keep on watching. So to make this hat, you're going to need the following. You want 3 meters of sinamay and 1 meter of a contrasting sinamay. We used a latte colour for the main colour and like a nice ice aqua for the contrast. You're also going to need a meter of grosgrain ribbon, 12 centimeter strip of goose bite feather fringe, 30 stripped cork feathers, some spring wire and a ferrule. So the crown that we used in this tutorial was from Guy Moss Brown, and we used a multi-block, so we used the MBB and the MB2 topper. The brim is HB042 from Hat Blocks Direct. To start this tutorial, we are going to block the crown over the crown block. Cut 3 squares of sinamay big enough to cover the entire block and lightly dampen your sinamay. Block this over the wooden block, pinning on the straight first, then using a lot of steam, pull on the bias until fully blocked. When using blocks like this, you'll notice that on the bias you'll get some gathering. This is very normal, just make sure the gathers are as together as possible and as low down on the block as you can possibly get them. If your sinamay is unstiffened, then add a liberal amount of diluted stiffener and leave to dry, preferably overnight, but you can always use a headwear to speed this up. This took me 30 minutes to do. Now you need to block your brim. Cut another 3 pieces of sinamay which will cover the brim block and slightly dampen. Lay this on the block and pin on the straight and then pull in on the bias using steam. Then, using some string or millinery elastic, pin one end into the groove in the block and smooth over the sinamay using your fingers to push the sinamay into the groove. Pull the string around the block, ensuring it sits in the groove, and pin the end of the string to keep it taut and leave to dry. Make sure you stiffen this before drying if you need. This took me a total of 25 minutes, so that is 55 minutes in total. Once the crown is dried, remove this from the block and trim away any excess sinamay, leaving about 1 inch which can be tucked into the inside of the crown. In the seam allowance, place a piece of spring wire which has been joined with a ferrule inside the seam. Make sure the wire is just a slightly bit larger than the actual crown, and this will help keep the shape of the crown. As we are showing a quick and most basic way of making this hat, we use the sewing machine, but if you hand stitch, you don't risk distorting the shape. This took me a total of 10 minutes to do, so that means in total we spent 1 hour and 5 minutes making this hat so far. Now we're going to work on the brim. So remove the brim from the block and trim away any excess sinamay. Cut enough spring wire to cover the edge of the brim and join this with a ferrule. Like the crown, make sure the wire is a slightly bit larger than you need. Once again, we are showing this tutorial the quickest way of making it, so we use the sewing machine to attach the wire, but hand stitching will once again distort any distorting of the brim. This took me a total of 15 minutes, taking the total time making so far to 1 hour and 20. Take a contrasting sinamay and cut a piece of sinamay on the bias, which is a minimum of 30 centimeters wide. This will be used to go around the sides of the brim. Here I found the bias and just measured 15 centimeters up and then cut this as it will give me the correct width. You will also need to cut enough bias strips 10 centimeters wide to edge the brim, and any remaining sinamay needs to be cut into 4 centimeter wide strips which we'll use to trim the hat. Using a steam iron, fold these into sinamay strips. To see a tutorial on how we make bias strips, check out the link above where we go into more detail on bias strips. You may need to join some strips together, so if you need to do this, then do it before you steam them into the finished strips. You may need to join some strips together, so if you need to do this, then do it before you steam them into the finished strips. Join them as shown here. This took me 45 minutes to do, so this is now a total of 2 hours and 5 minutes. Place the crown on the brim and figure out where you want the crown to sit. Once happy, mark the centre back on the brim and draw around the crown. Put the crown aside for now. Pin your sinamay to the edge of the base and using a sewing machine, stitch this into place, ensuring your sinamay join at the centre back of the hat. Once again, we are showing this tutorial the quickest way of making it. We did use a sewing machine attached to the bias sinamay, but hand stitching will stop any distorting of the brim. This took 20 minutes to do, which takes our total time up to 2 hours and 25. Measure 1 inch from the crown line we drew earlier and join the marks, then cut away the inner part. Then you need to cut in up to the line and fold outwards. Once done, make sure you test that the crown fits snugly. It's best to cut a little and then cut more if needed. Pin this into place with a grosgrain ribbon inserted, then sew the crown to the brim, but you will need to hand stitch this though. This took me a total of an hour, mainly because to get my stitches correct on the inside on the grosgrain ribbon, taking our total time 3 hours 25. Using the wide contrast sinamay we cut up earlier, fold this in half to get a centre point and open. Pleat the sinamay so you end up with 3 layers at the top and do this again at the bottom. This will block out any colour of the main colour showing through the sinamay. Measure the brim and cut a length to fit with a small overlap of around 1 centimetre. Pin this into place around the crown and sew into place along the overlap, making sure you put your overlap where you're going to put all your trimmings later on. This took me 30 minutes to do, taking our total time up to 3 hours 55. Using the thinnest bias strips we made earlier, loop and curl these into an arrangement that looks good on the hat and sew down to secure. We use clear thread to sew these into place. This took 20 minutes to do, taking our total time up to 4 hours and 15. Using some wide masking tape, secure this to a flat surface. Stick down the top of the cork feathers, making sure the feather is flat to the masking tape. Then, using some sharp scissors, cut a small diamond shape on the top of the feather. We just need to do the top of the diamond for now. Remove the masking tape and find out where the side of the diamond shape should be and remove any feather below this, making sure you go slow so you don't break the quill of the feather. This took me 30 minutes to do all the feathers, taking our total time up to 4 hours and 45 minutes. Lay down your biot feathers and place a small amount of glue along the ribbon where the feathers are attached. We've used Copydex as this dries pretty fast. Then, place your trimmed cork feathers on top of the biot feathers, making sure the cut end is in the glue. Apply some glue on top of these and roll up and hold for a minute for the glue to dry. Take a small bit of sinamay and cut a rectangle, folding in the edges to give a clean finish, and wrap this around the base of the feathers. Pin the edges together and sew this. Then finally, to finish the hat, sew the feathers to the hat, making sure the angles of the feathers look pleasing. This took me 40 minutes to do, taking the total time for this hat 5 hours and 25 minutes. And that's what it looks like. A very simple mother of the bride piece that could be seen in any wedding, and this sort of style you do tend to find a lot in department stores. Personally, I tend to not make pieces like this for the simple reason it doesn't challenge your design skills, it doesn't challenge your making skills. You can find this on the high street, and I would prefer to make something unique, something different, something that's got a bit of a wow factor. That's not to say that I don't make these hats. These are a bread and butter staple for any milliner, and some customers do actually prefer this type of hat. So this hat took me 5 hours 25 minutes in total. That doesn't include drying time, but I don't include that because I'm not actually physically working on that, so I don't include any time like that. And say I was to charge, I don't know, say £15 an hour to make. That time alone comes to £82.50. They need to take into consideration your materials. Say for example, this hat materials cost me around £45. That takes us to a total of £127.50. And obviously because I'm running a business as opposed to a charity, I would need to make a profit on top, taking the price to £153, including a profit. Now this also doesn't take into consideration the fact that a lot of times a lot of milliners hand stitch, they'll do colour sampling, they will do dyeing, bespoke colours, samples, time spent designing. These can take a lot of time, and unfortunately, you know, this is our work, this is what we get paid for. So this is why we price the way that we do. So imagine if I was to hand stitch this, this probably would take me an extra, say an hour and a half, say 2 hours maximum. So this price that we've said would be £153. Add 2 hours extra, that would take this price up to £183. Now I used an online calculator, so I'll link that in the description box below. It's called craftfairsuk.com, craft calculator, and you just pop in all the details like how many you can make in an hour, how long did it take you, your material cost, what sort of profit margin you want to make, and it will tell you your base price, your profit, and what your trade price and retail price should be and all that. So it's a very good tool, and it's very good for working out exactly how much you should be charging for these pieces. I know when I first started out, I was like, I can't charge this price, I'm not experienced enough, I don't feel confident enough to charge this price. And I actually had a customer from home who got in touch with me recently, and when I told her my price, she was like, well, I can't afford that anymore. I'm like, well, you know, I now have confidence and the ability to do what I do, and I have the confidence in myself to charge my correct prices. I've lost a customer from that. So the moral of the story is get your costing correctly, and once you have that costing correctly, you can then share that with your customer when they turn around to you and say, can you make this any cheaper? You're like, no, this is how much it actually cost me to make. So the next time a customer says to you, why is it so expensive? Show them this video. So now that rant is over, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you follow me on all my social media. So we've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat and Patreon. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.